Richard Harrison is a multiple award-winning poet, essayist, and author. His most recent book, On Not Losing My Father's Ashes in the Flood, has just been awarded the 2017 Governor General's Literary Award for Poetry, and he has been shortlisted for the City of Calgary W.O. Mitchell Book Prize. Richard Harrison joins us now to chat about the win and what the future has in store for one of our city's most celebrated poets. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Leah.
Thank you so much for being here. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
This is so exciting for you. What does this mean to you as a writer, as a poet?
It means that I've joined the company of people I've been admiring since I started writing. I mean, it says that from the point of view of the audience, this work is worth reading in the same way that I felt the work of Patrick Lane and Robert Crouch and Margaret Atwood were all worth reading at the time.
Right. Wow. And what does it mean for your career as a poet? Does this mean more people are going to hear about you and pick up the book, maybe?
Certainly, that's the hope. That's the hope the council has in instituting it. It clearly has drawn that kind of attention. It would be, foolish to say otherwise. That, I'm here. That people are interested and wanting to explore that work, and it means that I now have this platform for a while where I can start promoting not just my poetry, but poetry itself.
Right.
Talk about the value of writing poetry and reading it.
Wonderful. Let's talk a little bit about the book specifically. What are you exploring in this book?
Three things. One is I'm exploring just the nature of poems themselves. So there are poems that float through the book that are just about poetry, like different kinds of poetry, haiku or epic or that sort of thing. I'm exploring my father's last years of his life. He died of dementia. And those last 7 or 8 years when he was fading were times of real reconciliation between us, times of real storytelling with the truth that he could hold on to.
Right.
And a large part of that truth was itself the love of poetry. He recited poetry when he was a young man. He learned it in England. That was the way they studied it then. But he also carried poetry through the Second World War, and he was in the army after that as well. So in many ways, poetry was his way of communicating with the world. It was keeping his mind whole, and it was a large part of our relationship together.
Wow.
And then the third thing is, of course, the flood itself.
Right.
I had all these things in the basement. I had all my life all organized. I was ready to go. I'm going to write this book, and I know what it's about. And then the flood comes and says, everything you think about organization is wrong. The world turned upside down. Reorganize. Think about it again.
Right. Do you see that now maybe as a bit of a gift? An opportunity, perhaps?
I see art. I think one of the things about my father's death and the flood taught me was that art is how we answer death. It's how we answer disaster. And I don't know whether gift is the right word, but certainly it's an inevitable thing. Right? This is what we can't control, and it happens. So what do we do with it? And I try to make something as beautiful as I can.
Wonderful. Now, you're also a professor at Mount Royal University.
Yes.
What does this mean for your students and the faculty? I mean, everybody must be so excited for you there.
Everybody is ecstatic. I'm getting, I walk down the halls and people are congratulating me and sharing the happiness of it. It's the thing, when something like this has happened, and I didn't really, you don't anticipate this until it does, is that people, it's like I've done this magic trick in front of everyone. And they're all happy for it.
And they're also happy for it.
They're also happy. And I mean, it's a real chance. I mean, I've been writing for 40 years. And a moment like this is a moment to look back on all those 40 years. So I'm getting letters and emails from people I taught 20 years ago to say, okay, here's a moment to pause and say, this is what, not just your work, but what you have meant.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. Wonderful. Richard, thank you so much for being here this morning, and congratulations to you again.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.